A family in California is suffering due to the eviction moratorium. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Now, I have another story for you out of the great state of California. But before I get started, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'm going to work to keep bringing you more articles that's showing you exactly what's happening to landlords due to the eviction moratorium. Every single day, a landlord is put into a precarious situation because the eviction moratorium doesn't even take into consideration exactly what we're going through, and instead pushes the social system onto landlords as though we're the ones who are supposed to be covering for the homelessness crisis and covering for the poor. No, we're business owners and we're just trying to get by. We're trying to survive. And guess what? The government believes that we are the ones who should be covering for them. And that's just not the case. So let's get into this article. And it's coming to us from ksby.com. It says, Paso Robles family struggles with tenants in rental property. A family in Paso Robles is struggling to make ends meet because their rental property investment is now emptying their bank account. The family says the eviction moratorium for renters has forced them to cover over $25,000 in expenses within the past year. For us to live, our whole family, it's cheaper for us to live than supporting this other family in this other house, said Christine McKinnon of Paso Robles. Yeah, it's cheaper for the landlord to live in their own home than it is to pay for some other people to live in their house. That's how crazy this is. Yet the state of California believes that, hey, the landlord should be the ones who are paying to provide housing for these other people. I mean, this is completely out of line. It's completely ridiculous. And we know this. We know this as landlords. We know that there's people who are struggling. And guess what? Small landlords like this, they're going to continue to suffer because states like California, they don't care. They don't care that people like us have to pay all the bills. And I'm not happy. And I'm not going to just sit around and pretend like, oh, well, this is completely acceptable. No, kick these people to the curb. That's my opinion. Kick them to the curb. You know, they don't deserve to be sitting in here, living for free, living it up in a house they can't afford. If you can't afford it, get out. Period. Get out. You don't deserve to live there. McKinnon, and I hope I'm not mispronouncing these people's names. I mean, it's, bad enough, but McKinnon has a 1-year-old daughter, but instead of enjoying this first year as a mom, she says she's been in an ongoing battle with tenants in her family's Atascadero rental property. It's been so much stress, so much paperwork. The pandemic has caused a domino effect with thousands of job cuts due to the pandemic. No, the job cuts aren't due to the pandemic. The job cuts are due to the state of California basically putting a stay-at-home order in place and shutting businesses down, not allowing people to keep their jobs. And guess what? Then they put this eviction moratorium in place and threw out these unemployment benefits, and people say, hey, I don't even want to work anymore. I'm just going to stay home. I'm going to keep collecting this money, and I can't be evicted if I don't pay, so I might as well not. Well, that's a recipe for disaster, especially for small landlords, people who depend upon the income from their rental properties in order to pay their bills. People thought they were going to be able to build up a small retirement or have a small investment, and it didn't work out. Now these people are stuck paying the bills for a bunch of freeloaders, and that's it. And in this video, I'm being a lot less friendly than I am in a lot of my other videos because I'm just so sick of seeing it. I'm sick of reading these stories. I'm sick of hearing about states like California that treat all landlords as though there's some kind of super rich people off there living it up. When in fact, most of the cases, landlords are just normal people working jobs, people who have to work their butts off, and they're just getting, screwed. They're just getting screwed. And I just want it to end. I want the CDC eviction moratorium to end. I want the state level and the local level eviction moratoriums to end. And I want all of this mess to come to an end. Many unemployed tenants can't pay rent, making it difficult for some landlords to pay their mortgages. The eviction moratorium in California largely protects renters in the state and has been extended until the end of June. Mannequin empathizes with people who have lost income during the pandemic. I completely understand it for people who lost a job and are struggling. However, she says that her particular tenants have jobs but stop paying rent anyway. Yeah, abusing the system. And there's too many of these people who can abuse the system. They're not fools. People think that, these tenants they're poor victims and they have no reason to. Yeah, they do have a reason to do this because they know that they can abuse the system, and there's nothing that the property owners can do about it. There's nothing that these landlords can do about it, and so they're willing to just completely screw somebody over. And how can you blame them when you have a government as incompetent as the state of California, as incompetent as the one up in Washington, D.C., and they just allow it to happen, and they don't put systems in place that would prevent these things from happening? Instead of pushing the rental assistance straight to the landlords, they're pushing it to these tenants, or they're not providing rental assistance at all. Did you know that basically, and this is hilarious, and I pointed this out in other videos, rental assistance isn't available to all tenants. It's only available to tenants who meet certain requirements, such as household income that is 80% or below the median income of the local area. Well, that's great, except for the eviction moratorium covers all tenants. So let's say that you are you're living in a household, you didn't lose your job. You're making great money and you decide you just don't want to pay anymore. Well, all you have to do is fill out one of these hardship declaration forms. There's no proof required to fill out one of those declaration forms, right? Hand it to your landlord. That landlord can now no longer evict you. So, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Some states have thrown their eviction moratoriums out and they're not paying attention to the CDC moratorium, but that's not in all states, and it's especially not in places like California. So, yeah, I mean, landlords are getting completely screwed over. This article is just proof of that. According to Minikin, the tenants have also stopped paying utilities and have accumulated so much junk in front of the rental, it's prompted complaints from the neighbors and the city. California's rent relief program is set up to help relieve financial stress. It's designed for both landlords and tenants to get funds for back rent and utilities. The Five Cities Homeless Coalition also helps tenants and landlords through the program application process. The tenant's rent will be forgiven, and if the landlord will accept 80% payment from the state of California through these funds, explains Jana Nichols, executive director of Five Cities Homeless Coalition. Yeah, you take 20% of what you lose 20% of what's owed to you, and you'll get something from the state. Oh, thank goodness. But guess what? Here's the kicker. You won't be able to evict those tenants if you take that money. Those tenants are stuck in your property. You won't be able to get rid of them ever. Oh my goodness. I mean, who would agree to such a stupid stipulation as that? I mean, I wouldn't want to do that. The thing is, I want my money and I want to get rid of those tenants. And that's what a reasonable landlord wants too. I mean, that's probably what these people want. That's why a lot of people don't want to take any of the rental assistance. But there is a roadblock for landlords. Landlords need the tenants to participate in order for them to be paid, said Nichols. Minikin says her tenants have recently stopped returning her phone calls, leaving her unable to complete the rent relief application. Yeah, you got to keep those people in your property. They don't want to participate in the program, and they can't be evicted. So it's just you. And in the case of this landlord here, she's took a $25,000 loss so far. Because it's only going to get larger the longer these tenants are in her property. The longer these eviction moratoriums last, the more money that will be indebted, and it's only going to be awful for her. And guess what? It's possible she could go into foreclosure or bankruptcy and lose this property, lose everything she has on top of it, just so that some politician somewhere feels good about themselves. Oh, we prevented homelessness. No, these people are abusing the system. They have jobs. They didn't lose anything, and they can't be removed, and California doesn't have in place a process to remove them. KSBY called Minikin's tenants and has not received a response. In the meantime, Minikin says she feels like she is almost out of options. It's not right for them to take over our property and we have to pay for it, said Minikin. We've sold a car, we've sold a motorcycle, and we've used our savings. Is that what it comes down to? You know, you put the landlord into financial distress so that the tenant can live for free? Is that what this comes down to? This landlord has become the homeless program, the Section 8 program for the government? Oh my God. In this crap now, in the eviction moratorium, I'm sick of reading these articles, but hey, I keep finding more and more of them. So, let's just end it before it goes into any more people's pocketbooks and destroys more landlords' finances.